Welcome back, welcome back, like I never left, to the Triple Crown Champs review of Friday Night SmackDown. So, let's get into it. So, today we're talking about Friday Night SmackDown from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'll be honest with you, from the second I started the show, it sort of had a nothing vibe, a very much building vibe, so I didn't expect all that too much. I guess we were going to get some more Randy Orton, and that's exactly what we got at the start of the show. We start with Randy Orton coming to the ring. He's hearing voices. He's building this character. He was on the way to WrestleMania, and it was, I mean, I've always loved Randy Orton, but what I love about Randy Orton is he's consummate to the business. His promos are very much like a promo of a wrestler from a different era, from a gone by era. It's funny, that phrase that still sticks around, and Corey Graves said that JBL used to say Randy Orton's what you'd get if a wrestler was built from the ground up. Cody Rhodes also mentioned that in one of his promo segments. But the fact of the matter is, he is very much that, even in the way that he works as far as promos and such. So I liked that about it, but I'll say it was a little bit boring. It was a little bit boring. It was a little bit the same burger kind of thing. So, but Randy's Randy. He's a top of the card performer, and he does his job very well. It's just not something that shines kind of outside of the business. You know what I mean? I've always thought that about Randy Orton. He's a wrestler that is top of the card within the wrestling business. I don't think Randy Orton transcends wrestling. You understand what I mean? So therefore, I don't think his promo was something that transcends wrestling. Say what you will about CM Punk. I've always said that I don't like CM Punk, but CM Punk does promos that kind of transcends the wrestling business. Even at this point, Roman Reigns does promos that kind of transcends the wrestling business. I don't think Randy Orton does that, despite the fact that he is a wrestler that both of those wrestlers should aspire to kind of reach the greatness of. Let's take nothing away from Randy. Love Randy. I just think, he doesn't transcend the business. But that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. So that brings us on to Nikki and Brie versus Charlotte and Alexa. So, and I actually have it written down on my pad. I'm sure there's no way Lash and Nia are going to interrupt this match. The music hit before the ring bell went. One thing I noticed in that match, Brie can wrestle now. I mean, there are advantages to having a Hall of Fame husband. I mean, it might not be the WWE Hall of Fame. At this point, actually, I'm not sure what Hall of Fame is, but no, he is. About a year ago, was it AEW Hall of Fame? Ryan Danielson. Yeah, there are some benefits to being able to work with one of the greatest wrestlers at home. Nikki Bella really looks like she can do some stuff now, so I'll be interested to see what they do with that. I get why they might have put the girls on, because they're looking pretty good at the moment. They're looking pretty good. Maybe a fatal four-way ladder match. Saw Lyra Valkyria and Bayley came to the rescue, because, of course, they're the number one contenders now. After that last match. So, yeah, I'm thinking maybe a fatal four-way, maybe a ladder match. So, Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill segment. Yeah. That was kind of chaotic. I don't know if it was planned. I don't know if Rhea and Jade actually clash in real life or what's going on, but it was kind of chaotic. So Rhea Ripley versus B-Fab. I'm happy for B-Fab to get the moment. You knew the match was going to get thrown out. You knew it was going to be chaos. It didn't last as long as I would have hoped. I guess it was a very short segment. Maybe the promo segment overran. But I'm glad to see B-Fab getting some matches. I think B-Fab's, she has legs, pun intended. You've seen that spin kick. You see she's got long legs and she's got talent. But I think B-Fab can really go a long way. So it was good to see her rubbing a little bit with Rhea Ripley. I mean, the whole night, it was a kind of nothing burger. The match got thrown out. Meechin and Jade Cargill interfered and laid Rhea Ripley out. We're on the way to WrestleMania. Jelly Roll versus Kit Wilson. It was interesting. I did kind of predict this, although I did say if it was Miz versus Jelly Roll at WrestleMania or it was Kit Wilson at WrestleMania, we would still have a good match and Kit Wilson would carry the match. Kit Wilson did a very good job of carrying the match. I even remember a moment with a Skin the Cat which was completely unnecessary. But he did it anyway. I mean, he tried his best to make Jelly Roll look good. Jelly Roll didn't look amazing, but he got through the match. I did think he looked better in previous outings, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
So, yeah, I think Kit Wilson did a great job. That brings us to the US challenge between Carmelo Hayes and who would show up for the challenge, but Sami Zayn. Now, this has been a lot talked about. Sami Zayn versus Carmelo Hayes. We all know how this match has ended up. It's ended up with Sami Zayn as the new US title winner. What the actual... You could have taken it off of Carmelo Hayes the night after WrestleMania. Sami Zayn has been off TV for... And when I say off TV, I don't mean off TV, but he hasn't had a match for a little while. Okay, yeah, it's an open challenge. Why did you do this? It makes no sense. Yeah, I'd have to agree with all the different people that, like, it doesn't really... Just for him to face Trick Williams. And there's a great suspicion that he's just going to be transitionary again. He's holding the title from now until Mania when he's going to drop it to Trick. I mean, there can be some stuff in there theoretically, because as soon as the music hit for the start of the match, I put down on my sheet of paper TMG, Trick, Mellow, Gang. There was some weeks ago where there was a triple threat that had Trick and Mello both in the match trying to qualify for the Elimination Chamber. And I thought, great, this is good. The way the match has ended, Trick, Mello gang is still intact. They're still fine. They might not be together currently, but there's still an ability for Trick and Mello to come together at some point in the future. Oh, I think they're going to come together all right. Because after Sami faces Trick, I think Mello's going to be up next. If Mello doesn't have a rematch. Even if he does have a rematch, he still has an argument to... So even if he has a rematch against Sami, he still has an argument could still be made. So yeah, so that could be Trick Mello in the future. Trick against Mello in the future. I don't understand why they did this. I guess it's the idea of making sure Sami goes to WrestleMania. I think this run from Carmelo Hayes, he has proven that he should be going to WrestleMania. A lot of people are suspecting that possibly there might be a triple threat in there and Melo will go to Mania, but I don't think he will. And I think he should. I think there are a lot of people who are now seeing what I've been saying about Melo for quite some time. And I said he was a pretty boy and he's a generic hip hop wrestler, and I hate him. I hate them all. But I watched Carmelo versus Gargano. I watched him versus Ilya in NXT, and it was just like, okay, he has ability. He can go the distance. He can put on some fantastic matches. So I think a lot of people have been seeing that with Melo over the last, say, 2 or 3 months, and now it's been yanked away from him. I don't understand why WWE did this, and I can't agree. I can't. So yeah, WTF. Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre. Yeah, this whole show was a nothing burger, wasn't it? After last week, which was a great show. So, unsanctioned match. Why? It's WrestleMania. Why would a match be unsanctioned at WrestleMania? It's your biggest pay-per-view of the... Have it the night before WrestleMania. Have it on NXT TV. Have it on the pre-show. Unsanctioned? And this was one of the matches I was looking forward to. What does that even like? What does that even mean anymore? What does that even mean? Unsanctioned match. Why is it unsanctioned? They did a little spot where they fell off of a railing onto some cardboard. We know there's a reason we couldn't see what they fell onto. Like, come on. Let's go with the premise that they fell and really messed themselves up. Why is the match unsanctioned? Like Cody and whoever Cody has been fighting for the last year, every time he gets into a feud, a whole lot of security comes out and he's got to jump across the security and fight this person, and they've got to jump across the security and fight him, and back and forth and vice versa. So why is the match unsanctioned? It makes no sense. At this point, what does that even mean? Well, the show gets worse. Let's talk about Julia versus Tiffany. So yeah, I made probably 2 videos ago, maybe, and I said, quite literally, you can't put Tiffany Stratton up against Kiana James. And this was the night they put Tiffany up against Kiana James, and I was reviewing it. I said, you can't put Tiffany against Kiana James because it's going to be glaringly obvious that Tiffany isn't on the level of Kiana James, but Tiffany's going to win the match. Now, they just about got through that. I made the video and I spoke about that, and I also put Julia's name in there because it would be ridiculous if Tiffany Stratton faces Julia. However, Tiffany Stratton is on her way trying to get to the world title again, and Julia is holding the US title. They're gonna cross paths. They were always gonna cross paths, and it was always going to be obvious how vastly superior Julia is to Tiffany Stratton. Talk about a botch. Some people are not calling it a botch. Oh, it was an excellent move. It's kayfabe. You're not supposed to actually hurt the opponent. Yeah? You're supposed to make it look like it hurts the opponent, but when your entire hips land first onto someone's torso, off of a senton, swanton, senton, whatever, when your ass is the first part to land, and then your shoulders, and then your legs, and that lands in somebody's torso, it's a fucking botch. It's a botch. Your whole body weight, what is she, probably 120 pounds, maybe 100. Your whole body weight is not supposed to drop into someone's torso like that. There is supposed to be a leverage point. Don't understand? There's a reason why Finn Balor isn't stood up straight when he lands in your torso off of the coup de grace. He falls backwards, he falls forward, because it's essentially a tap and a roll. I mean, it's harder than a tap, but it's a tap and a roll. Sentons are supposed to be a roll. When you land that heavy on your opponent, it's a botch. So let's talk about the Matt Cardona versus Randy. I'm glad Matt Cardona blasted him with Mike, because it was highly disrespectful for a competitor of Matt Cardona's stature. I thought when Matt Cardona came back, it was almost like, I knew it wasn't going to be as grandiose as Cody Rhodes, but I thought it would be something closer to that. So him facing Randy, and he looked fairly good against Randy for a while. But again, I'm not sure I like the idea of using Matt Cardona to tell Randy's story. I'd much like to see a competitor get used to tell Matt Cardona's story. And I understand selling for another wrestler is more than part of the business. Of course it is. But Matt Cardona has done a lifetime of that. Has he not? So I think it's time. I think it's time Matt gets a bit of a shake. I think it's time he gets a fair shake. Yeah, we always knew it was going to end the way it ended. Randy was going to get over. I thought we had some more room until Jelly Roll got RKO'd. Quite literally, I thought we had some more time before Jelly Roll got RKO'd. But Jelly Roll got RKO'd, as I predicted. I didn't think it would be this quick, as I said. But yeah, that happened. So I knew that this was always going to happen. Cody Rhodes at the end of the match when he walks in, right? That's what QB1 status is. Like, you don't have to DDT or blast the referees or the security standing in your way. Just get out of my way and they move. That's QB1 status right there. I see you, Cody. Okay. You don't need to, no. Security just moves. And this, of course, brings us to my favorite segment of the show. It brings us to joke of the day. And as always, I've got an absolute doozy for you. Run a clip.
A British tourist who had a map of Italy tattooed on his chest while drunk has told reporters he's now experiencing very sore Naples.
Short and sweet. If you like the content, hit like, subscribe, hit the notification button, lets you know when I'm uploading next. Until then, I've been Triple Crown Champ. I'll see you next time.